What no one told you, Millionaire'S shocking outburst, employees' devastating reply at 3 a.m. The moon hung high in the night sky, casting an eerie glow over the sprawling mansion belonging to David Hart, the self-made millionaire known for his ruthless temper and uncanny investment predictions. It was 3 a.m. when the night turned sinister. Inside the lavish walls, an explosion of rage shattered the stillness as David stormed into the dimly lit office. He was a storm, all fury and fire, his face flushed with something more than anger. Whispers of the unusual had floated around the town. Outsiders claimed that David had a hidden secret, something darker than mere money. Just moments before his outburst, Jenna, his overworked assistant, had unwittingly stumbled upon an envelope tucked inside a thick book in his desk, a book that was never meant to be read. The envelope bore a strange symbol, an insignia she had only seen once before, and it turned her blood cold. As she nervously confronted David, the tension in the room thickened like fog. Her hands trembled, the lump in her throat a clear indicator of the fear clawing at her. "What's this about, David?" she asked, trying to maintain her shaky composure. His response echoed off the walls like thunder, "You shouldn't have seen that." His voice was a low growl, filled with a terrifying mixture of hostility and panic. The eyes of the man who controlled so much wealth and power now looked wild, betraying an unsettling vulnerability. The air shimmered with suspense as Jenna's heart raced, sensing that she had crossed a line she never intended to. At that moment, something deep within David revealed itself, a truth that hinted at a life riddled with secrets, and perhaps even danger. The room felt charged, every shadow lurking with potential dread. Did Jenna just spill open a door to his world, a world where threats lingered like ghosts? Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. Jenna felt the weight of his words as they hung in the air, pulsing with implication. He was no longer just a boss, he became a figure shrouded in enigma and dread. Suddenly, the calm night outside seemed far removed from the chaos enveloping them. The clock ticked ominously. Was she in over her head? What lay beyond the envelope that could provoke such fury? David's eyes glinted with something she couldn't quite place. Was it regret or something more sinister? Each tick of the clock sent her heart racing faster, and she couldn't shake the feeling that they had just unleashed a chain of events that would change everything. What was David Hart really hiding? Jenna's heartbeat echoed in her ears as she held David's fierce gaze. The world outside the mansion felt like a distant memory. All that mattered was the intensity charged in the small office. They stood in a battlefield where secrets unfolded. "David, I'm just trying to understand," she managed, her voice barely above a whisper. But his response was quick, cutting through her plea with a sharpness that made her flinch. "Understanding could be the last thing you ever do." He stepped closer, his breath hot and his eyes raging. Jenna took a step back, the fear gnawing at her resolve. She never thought she would see this side of him. The confident leader, the shrewd businessman, transformed into something unimaginable. I need to see what's inside the envelope," she stammered, the words tumbling out as if they had a mind of their own. But the moment the request left her lips, she realized the danger it posed. For a heartbeat, silence wrapped around them, taunting her. David's eyes narrowed, and Jenna could almost hear the battle raging in his mind. It was a flicker of vulnerability, quickly replaced by ice-cold determination. "You should forget you ever saw that," he said slowly, controlled but menacing. "What if I can't?" she whispered, as doubt spiraled in her stomach. A piercing silence draped over them again, each second feeling eternal. The room felt heavier, the shadows stretched unnaturally. A chill brushed past her skin as she imagined the weight of the envelope that lay between them, a ticket to secrets that might shatter lives. Suddenly, David's expression shifted. The rage was replaced by something darker, something almost fearful. "Get out, Jenna. It's for your own good." He stepped back, but the threat lingered, curling around them like smoke. Her instincts screamed at her to flee. But curiosity, that familiar beast, rooted her in place. "You can't just brush this off. You're different now, David. What have you gotten yourself into?" His eyes darkened. "You don't want to know." The word struck her like a physical blow. "Try me," she said, channeling every ounce of defiance she had. But the moment was shattered. David's phone buzzed violently on the desk, cutting through the air like a gunshot. He grabbed it, his face turning ghostly pale as he read the message. "Who?" Jenna asked, her voice trembling. "I said, get out." He bellowed, the fury bubbling back to the surface. His grip, now white-knuckled, suggested betrayal and urgency. As she backed away, she couldn't shake the feeling that the world was spiraling into chaos, and she was at the heart of it. The door loomed behind her, a gateway to safety or deeper trouble. "Who messaged you?" She pressed, her throat dry, each word a battle in itself. David's face twisted in a mask of worry. "You don't understand, Jenna. I've made enemies, serious ones. They want what's mine, and you are a part of it now." "What do you mean?" The answer was wrapped in shadows and dread that he dropped the phone and it hit the floor. The screen shattered, a jumble of colors and chaos. "You need to leave, now. I can't protect you." And then the power flickered. The sudden darkness swallowed the room, plunging them into an abyss deeper than fear. The night outside felt like a predator waiting to pounce. Jenna's heart thudded wildly. "David!" she exclaimed, panic rising. Voices echoed in the distance, the faint sound of approaching footsteps. Whoever was coming, it wasn't good. "Run, Jenna. You have to trust me." But trust was slipping through her fingers like grains of sand. As the footsteps grew louder, she could only think of one question: had she just stumbled unknowingly into a web of danger? And then the shadows broke, a figure emerged, stark against the darkness, and Jenna's breath caught in her throat. Who was it, and what did they want? Jenna squinted into the dim light, heart racing. The silhouette stepped forward, revealing a face she recognized, but not one she expected to see at that moment. It was Mia, David's loyal assistant, her expression a mix of fear and loyalty. "Mia?" Jenna managed to whisper, relief flooding her veins. But the tension in the room didn't dissipate, it only thickened. "Get away from him, Jenna," Mia said sharply, glancing back at David, who stood frozen, eyes darting between them. "He's not who you think he is." "What do you mean?" Jenna shot back, confusion swimming with adrenaline. "I came here to help. We have to figure this out together." Mia shook her head. "This isn't a game. He's in serious trouble." She turned her focus on David, the warmth in her eyes replaced by steely determination. "Isn't that right, David? You're in over your head." "Shut up." David spat, but the urgency in his voice was cracking. He looked from Mia to Jenna, lost, desperate. The footsteps echoed louder, relentless threats in the dark. They were close. Jenna felt claustrophobic, cornered by secrets and lies. "What is going on? Why are you acting like this?" Mia took a hesitant step towards Jenna, urgency etched on her face. "There are people looking for him, dangerous people. They won't stop until they get what they want." She paused, swallowing hard. "And they think you can lead them right to him." "What? Why would I?" But before the words could leave her mouth, realization struck Jenna like a slap. The envelope. David had something that tied her to whatever was happening. "You're lying. You're both lying." No, Jenna, David said, his voice lower now, tinged with desperation. Mia's right. This is bigger than both of us. They're using you to get to me. The light flickered on again, casting shadows that danced wildly across the room. Jenna caught a glimpse of the fear in David's eyes, and it sent a shiver down her spine. She gripped the edge of the desk, grounding herself. She had to understand. What did you do, David? The footsteps were relentless, a countdown to catastrophe. I made a deal. I thought it would secure our future, but now he hesitated, glancing over his shoulder, voice dropping to a whisper. It's gone wrong. What kind of deal? Panic tightened her throat. You need to tell me everything. A sudden crash from the hallway echoed through the dim office, sending a wave of terror washing over them. David spun toward the door, eyes wide with horror. They're here. David! Jenna shouted, her heartbeat thunderous in her ears. We can't just stand here. He lunged for her, grabbing her wrist painfully. You need to trust me. We have to run, now. Mia shot forward. No, you can't take her. They'll follow you, follow her. More sounds, gruff voices looming closer. Get ready, David said, breathless. If we don't move now. With a final glance back at Mia, Jenna made her choice. She could see the fear in both their eyes, but she couldn't let herself be paralyzed. Let us go. She urged, wrenching her wrist free. Together, they dashed toward the back door, the shadows closing in the realization of danger weighing heavily in the air, but as they reached for the handle, a deafening crash erupted, and the door swung open, revealing the imposing figures of men in dark suits, their faces obscured but intentions crystal clear. Jenna, one of them said, voice like ice, you're coming with us. The finality of those words echoed in her mind as Jenna felt the walls begin to close in around her. Who were these men, and what did they want with her? Run! David shouted, pulling her back just as the men lunged forward, but escape was slipping away, just like the truth that seemed to spiral deeper into shadows. What did she truly know, and how far would she have to go to find out? Jenna's heart raced as she felt David's grip tighten around her wrist. The men in dark suits loomed closer, shadowy giants ready to snatch her away into the darkness. Stay close. David urged, dragging her backward into the dimly lit office. Panic clawed at Jenna's insides. Her mind felt like a blender, everything spinning out of control. She glanced back at Mia, whose eyes were wide with fear and something else, betrayal. Before Jenna could process the tension in Mia's expression, David pushed her behind him, his body a shield. We need to find another way out, he urged. The men stepped into the room, their movements purposeful and calculated. The first one, taller than the rest, scanned the room with a predatory gleam in his eyes. David, you can't run from this. Can we really not do this today? David retorted, but even Jenna could hear the uncertainty in his voice. Let us end this the easy way. The man spoke as if they were debating lunch options rather than life and death. Jenna's pulse thundered in her ears. What had David done to put them all in this predicament? She could feel the weight of the moments ticking by, each heartbeat pulling them closer to a collision. David, please. She tugged at his sleeve, desperation etched across her face. What is going on? Before he could answer, a loud thump came from outside the office. The building seemed to tremble with the sound. Her instincts screamed that outside forces were rushing toward them, and they were running out of time. Mia, she shouted. What do you know? Mia hesitated, the tension cracking like ice beneath her feet. They're part of it. David's deal, she finally managed, her voice shaking. They want you to leverage David's mistake. Stop it. David barked, his face tightened into an angry mask. You can't blame her. Jenna's eyes darted to David. What did you get us into? With a surge of urgency, David's gaze shifted back to her. I did it for us, Jenna. I thought footsteps clattered outside the door, now deafening as they approached, and Jenna felt the room closing in on her. No time. She screamed, feeling the fear rise inexplicably in the small space. Now, we fight. David's voice was fierce, and Jenna could see the resolve in his eyes. Oh, no. That's not happening, said the tall man, his smile an unsettling mask of confidence. Gentlemen, let us make this fast. David moved to shield Jenna, but before she could process what was happening, the air filled with tension like electricity before a storm. Back off. David shouted, positioning himself in front of her, but Jenna felt an internal tug. She faced the men and for the first moment, she saw them as more than faceless threats. They were people, too, but did that make them less dangerous? David, I need to know the truth now. It rushed out of her, perhaps too fraught with fear. He locked eyes with her, as if weighing the gravity of her words. You deserve it, Jenna. You have to understand what? She interrupted, urgency swirling like a whirlpool around them, but then adrenaline buzzed through her, spurring an unexpected thought. She turned sharply to Mia. Get ready to move toward the window. Mia nodded slightly, comprehension dawning. Another thump, this time by the door. The men were closing in. Move! David shouted, thrusting Jenna forward toward the window, the only escape she could visualize. Go, now! With terror electrifying her every step, Jenna flung herself forward, heart racing with purpose. As she reached the window, a glimmer of freedom, she felt a firm hand clasp around her shoulder, pulling her back hard. Let go of her! Mia screamed, rushing forward, but the figure pulled Jenna into a vice-like grip. David's voice trembled with fury, you don't know what you're doing. She looked back. David! Help! The chaos unfolded in thundering seconds as the world around them spun out of control. Jenna's mind raced. How much power did she even have in this moment? Was escape still possible? As the darkness closed in, Jenna felt something inside her ignite, a flicker of hope mixed with terror. What had she really stumbled into? And finally, in those frantic moments, a question screamed out through her heart. Who could she trust? The men's eyes glinted with something dark, and Jenna braced herself for the inevitable. The real fight was just beginning. The pull on Jenna's shoulder intensified, almost lifting her off the ground. She gasped, fear prickling her skin as she twisted in the grip of her captor. Panic surged inside her like a tidal wave, flooding her thoughts. Get away from her! David roared, taking a step forward, but the tall man simply chuckled, unfazed. Is this really necessary, David? He taunted, eyes glistening like steel. You've made your choice. Jenna's heart ached at those words. What had David chosen? Choices shaped destinies, hers felt shattered among the shards of her betrayal. Mia lunged again, reckless, determination blazing in her eyes. You think you can take her? Enough. The tall man snapped, raising his hand dismissively as if refusing to acknowledge Mia's presence. We're not here to play games. We want what's ours. Yours? Jenna shouted, mirroring the disarray swirling in her chest. What does that even mean? The chaos felt suffocating, but defiance clung to her voice. The grip became tighter, cutting into her shoulder. Still dizzy with confusion, she focused on David. His face betrayed nothing but resolution, a man prepared to fight. Don't let them intimidate you, he said, quiet yet fierce, trying to keep his voice steady for her sake. But was it bravery that ignited his fire, or desperation? I will make this easy, the man said, stepping closer. Hand over the documents, David. No one needs to get hurt. Jenna's breath hitched. Documents? She felt like an outsider in a game she did not understand, an unwilling pawn on a board set for the worst. Mia's eyes darted around, calculating paths but seeing none. Let her go. This is between you and David. Exactly. The tall man's smirk widened. But if she complicates things, he cast a dark glance at Jenna, the threat hanging in the air like a guillotine. In that moment, Jenna felt a rush of anger rising within her. "I'm not a bargaining chip," she shouted, surprising even herself. "Just calm down, Jenna." David's tone cut through the chaos, but his own fear was palpable in his voice. "They're just trying to scare us." "Trying to scare you? They're here to take you away." Jenna's heart raced faster, and internally, she screamed to wake up from this nightmare. Rumbling footsteps echoed outside, and everything shifted. The men straightened, their attention diverting momentarily. Watching their focus break, Jenna seized the opportunity. "Now, Mia." She jerked forward, surprising her captor just enough so that she could twist free from his iron grip. Adrenaline surged as she darted toward the window again. She knew they didn't have much time. But just as she reached the edge, David leapt forward, grabbing her arm. "Jenna! Let us go!" she shouted, adrenaline piercing through her fear. The sound of boots pounding echoed down the hallway. The men glanced at each other, concern now creeping into their expressions. "Forget her. We need to get out," one of them barked. "No," the tall man said, his tone dark and commanding. "You all have no idea what's on the line. All or nothing." In that crucial moment, the air shifted. Jenna's pulse thundered in her ears as they all realized they were standing on a precipice, a choice that brought them here, but could they all escape? "Mia, do you have your phone?" Jenna gasped, knowing she would need an ally, someone ready to fight with them. Oh God, what if Mia started, her voice wavering. "Just trust me," Jenna urged, knowing that the next steps could mean everything. As Mia rummaged through her bag, uncertainty shadowed their eyes, and Jenna wished she could dissolve into the air, but escape was just within reach. She could almost taste freedom if only they could weave through the chaos unscathed, but then the door burst open. Figures stormed in, more men in dark suits, faces grim. The new arrivals were armed and ready, turning the stakes higher than ever. "Lay down your weapons," one of them commanded, amplifying a tension that rippled through Jenna's spine. What had she stumbled into? And how could they possibly escape? In that fraught moment, Jenna faced a harsh truth: the situation was spiraling beyond anything she ever dreamed, and the real threat was lurking closer than anyone expected. "David, we have to," she started, but the words slipped as the world around them blurred into chaos, and as screams erupted, Jenna's heart sank. Somebody was about to make a deadly one. Would she have the strength to fight back, or witness everything vanish into darkness? Jenna's heart raced, a wild drumbeat against her ribcage, as the new figures in dark suits advanced with the unwavering precision of predators. The room hummed with tension, a live wire threatening to explode. Every muscle in her body screamed to move, to find a way out. "Damn it, David! We need a plan," Mia shouted, clutching her bag as if it were a lifeline. It was impossible to tell which side was more dangerous, the tall man still eyeing them with that terrifying smirk, or these imposing newcomers with their cold, hard stares. "Back away from her," the lead man in a tailored suit barked, raising a weapon with the quiet authority of someone used to being obeyed. "Put that down," David yelled, desperation spilling from his voice. "This is all a mistake." Mistake? Jenna's mind reeled. How could any of this be a mistake? Everything felt so deliberate, so unforgiving. She could almost feel the weight of choices hanging in the air, thick like fog, shrouding their paths ahead. "Enough." The tall man raised his voice, a serpent among hyenas. "You're all playing a game that you win. David, do you really want to see her hurt?" The threat cloaked in sweet poison sent a chill rushing through her. Jenna's hands trembled not just in fear but in a desperate need to protect herself and the people she cared about. The stakes had spiraled so high, beyond her wildest comprehension. Outside, sirens wailed in the distance, echoing in the stillness and mixing with the rising tension. Jenna's instincts kicked into high gear. If they were going down, they would go down fighting. "Listen to me," she shouted, breaking through the chaos. You don't have to do this. None of this has to happen. Your bravery is cute, Jenna, the tall man said, tilting his head mockingly. But this isn't a fairy tale. Words won't save you. David's jaw clenched, and for a brief moment, hesitation flickered in his eyes. We need to run. We can think of something later. But Jenna refused to be a victim any longer. No. We can't just accept this. Before anyone could react, she took a step forward, casting a defiant look toward the tall man and the armed figures. In that moment, all of her innate fear transformed into something solid and fierce. You think I'll stand here and let you take me away? I'm no one's pawn. Jenna. Mia's voice rose in panic, realizing the danger of her friend's sudden courage. Shut her up. The lead man barked, but the tall man waved him off. Let her speak, he said. I want to see how far her courage takes her. Courage? Jenna scoffed. What do you know about it? You're hiding behind men with guns, while we're standing here completely unarmed. You're pathetic. Mia opened her mouth, perhaps to urge caution, but instead, silence fell like a heavy blanket. Jenna pressed on, her pulse loud and insistent. If she was going to fight, she wouldn't do it softly. Just then, the lead man exchanged a glance with his companions. Jenna's stomach plummeted at the unspoken communication flowing between them. No way could they let this escalate. Suddenly, the tall man's expression morphed, something dark flickered in his eyes. Very well, he said slowly, almost too casually. You want to play? Then let us play. Before Jenna could fully process his words, the tall man lunged for David, a hand outstretched, ready to grab. Chaos erupted. Gunshots rang out, loud and vicious, shattering the tense atmosphere into fragments of screaming urgency. Jenna's heart stopped. Then, unexpectedly, an explosion rocked the very ground beneath them, a cacophony of destruction engulfing everything in smoke and shrapnel. In the chaos, the room transformed into a battleground, and without thinking, Jenna grasped Mia's hand. They needed to escape no matter the consequences. But through the smoke, she saw David fall to the ground, dazed but not out. Her heart sank, torn between running and rushing to him. Go! He yelled, voice strained but wounded, determination flickering in his gaze. Mia pulled Jenna toward the window, and for a split second, Jenna hesitated, wanting to make sure David was okay. But then, another explosion followed, sending shards of glass bursting outward. Now! Mia yelled, yanking her back toward freedom. Could they survive this? Would they leave David behind? With adrenaline coursing through her veins, Jenna took a deep breath and climbed through the window, uncertainty biting at her insides, but as they landed outside with the world burning around them, Jenna couldn't shake the feeling. Something dark loomed behind them, and it wasn't done yet. What would come next? Just as they turned the corner, a shadow blinked into view, the unmistakable figure of the tall man standing in their way, a sinister smile creeping across his face. Did you think you could escape so easily? He taunted. Jenna's heart plummeted again, realization crashing down this was far from over. Jenna's breath hitched as the tall man stepped closer, the darkness around him wrapping tighter like a noose. Panic surged through her veins, leaving her cold and unsteady. She wanted to scream, to run, but the ground felt glued beneath her feet. Mia whimpered, pulling Jenna back, her eyes wide with fear. What do we do? Stay calm, Jenna said, although her voice trembled with uncertainty. She had never felt more helpless. They couldn't go back, they couldn't stay here. The sirens continued to wail in the distance, a haunting reminder of the chaos that lingered. Did you think you could just run away? The tall man smirked, his eyes glinting with malice. That would be too easy. Jenna clenched her fists, channeling her fear into defiance. You think you can control us? You're just as trapped as we are. He laughed, a low, chilling sound that echoed through the darkness. Trapped? You have no idea what trap looks like. He turned slightly, raising his hand, revealing what looked like a small device. But I can show you. What is that? Mia gasped, her fingers digging into Jenna's arm like a lifeline. I suggest you read the room. This is just a little insurance to aid our negotiations, he said nonchalantly, as if discussing the weather. I'd hate for things to get messy. Negotiations? Jenna's heart raced with the instinct to fight. You think we're scared of your threats? She edged closer to the man, adrenaline pumping through her. You're just a coward hiding behind your weapons. He raised an eyebrow, surprised. Cowardice is for the weak. How interesting that you think you know me. Before Jenna could respond, the device in his hand beeped ominously, sending a fresh wave of dread through her. David. Her voice cracked, remembering him still inside. The thought twisted her gut with guilt and fear. What if he hadn't gotten away in time? Worrying about David is futile. He's out of the picture, the tall man said, his grin widening. Unless, of course, you want to see him again, I could arrange it. No. Jenna shouted, her fear morphing into fierce desperation. You can't keep playing these games. Games? The tall man's laughter echoed, turning maniacal. This is no game, lady. This is survival. And it's written all over your friend's face. He turned slightly, pointing the device toward the sky, immediately sending a dazzling flare of light exploding overhead. Jenna shielded her eyes. What are you doing? The flare soared high, illuminating the night sky while bringing unwanted attention. She could see figures moving in the distance. People would come, but at what cost? Calling for help. The tall man sneered, watching her with keen interest. I doubt they will make it in time. Get ready to run. Mia whispered, her eyes darting around frantically, scanning for an escape. Not yet, Jenna shook her head. We need to stay put until we've figured out something. He wants to manipulate us. The tall man's expression soured. So clever, he said. But that only makes you a bigger target. She felt the weight of that truth settle in her stomach like a rock. She needed a distraction, a way to buy time. What do you want? She demanded, her voice steadier now. Please, he said mockingly, stepping forward. You're not in the position to ask questions. This is your final chance. Just then, the sound of tires screeching came from the entrance to the alleyway. Jenna's heart shot into her throat. A vehicle pulled up, the lights blinding her for a moment. Why don't you stay right here? He said, turning away as he activated the device, the ominous beeping quickening. This might get explosive. Let us find out if you're really as brave as you claim. Without thinking, Jenna's instincts kicked in. She had to act. In one courageous leap, she grabbed Mia's hand and bolted down the alleyway. The tall man shouted behind them. You think this is your escape? You have no idea. As they dashed past the glowing vehicle, Jenna glanced over her shoulder and locked eyes with the tall man. His smirk haunted her, carrying a promise of relentless pursuit. The sirens grew louder now, but they were still so far away. Jenna led Mia further into the shadows, desperate to find any way to lose him, but they had no idea what would come next. Would they outrun him? Or was this just the beginning of a chase that would change everything? The alley swallowed them as Jenna pulled Mia forward, adrenaline surging through her veins. Each breath came in rapid bursts, a chaotic rhythm that matched the pounding in her chest. She glanced back. The tall man was following them, weaving through the shadows with unsettling ease. His laughter, cold and mocking, trailed behind them like a ghost. I can't keep running. Mia gasped, her voice low but strained. The adrenaline was fading fast, and Jenna could see the fear etched across her friend's face. Just a bit further, Jenna urged, pushing her legs harder, desperate to gain distance. We have to find a way out. They ducked around a corner, entering another street but meeting a dead end. The walls loomed high as Jenna frantically looked for an escape route, but all she could see were bricks and darkness closing in. Panic clawed at her throat. "We're trapped." "No, we can't be," Mia said, her breath hitching as she looked around, desperately scanning for a way out. "There has to be hay." A voice interrupted from the shadows. A figure stepped forward, and Jenna's heart stopped. It was David, the very person they were trying to save. Relief flooded her, but it was quickly replaced with dread as she noticed the dazed look in his eyes, the bruises forming across his face. "Jenna," he said, staggering toward her, a hint of desperation in his voice. "Get out of here. He's dangerous." "You've got to hurry," Mia pleaded, pointing behind them. The tall man's figure broke from the shadows, his presence more menacing now that they were cornered. "He's coming." "That way," David yelled, pointing to a narrow passageway just off the street. "It leads to the next block. Go." Jenna hesitated, caught between her loyalty to David and the urge to save herself and Mia. The towering man was gaining ground, and time was slipping through their fingers like grains of sand. "We can't leave you. Just go." David shouted, stepping forward, trying to shield them. "He's after me, not you. You have to escape while you can." With her heartbeat thundering in her ears, Jenna exchanged a glance with Mia. The decision sliced through her: leave David and risk losing him forever, or potentially place them all in danger by trying to get him out. "Go." David insisted, his voice breaking. "I'll buy you time, just run." Jenna felt the weight of her choice crash down on her, but she pushed it aside. "We can't let him do this to you," she yelled, her voice laced with desperation. "Please." He shouted again, desperation now morphing into anger. "I can fight him. I know what he wants. Just run." The tall man was almost upon them, his eyes gleaming with dark victory. Jenna felt panic clawing at her gut. It was now or never. She turned, gripping Mia's hand tightly, and sprinted toward the passageway. "Stay close," she shouted, their feet pounding against the pavement. Every step felt like a defiance against the looming threat behind them. "Jenna, I can't." Mia's voice broke, snapping Jenna back to reality. She looked back, just as the tall man rounded the corner. The device in his hand pulsed ominously, its beeping echoing through the night like a countdown. "Keep running," Jenna urged, but as they ducked into the passageway, a deafening explosion rocked the alleyway, sending debris flying. The air went still for a moment, and Jenna felt the tremors beneath her feet. She staggered, pulling Mia along, fear driving her forward. They burst through the other side, gasping for breath, but the night was full of shadows and uncertainty. The sirens were closer now, but Jenna couldn't shake the haunting thought of what she had just left behind. Behind them, the cries of a fractured city filled the air. "What do we do now?" Mia asked, wide-eyed, her voice barely above a whisper. Jenna could only look ahead, unsure of what lay before them. The threat was still lurking, and they had no idea if they were truly safe. As they sprinted down the next street, Jenna's mind raced. "We need to reach the police station. That's our best shot." But as they reached the corner, emotions tangled within her: joy for the possibility of safety and dread for what they'd left behind. And at that moment, a figure appeared in the distance, standing right where they'd hoped to find help. Even from afar, Jenna felt the darkness radiating from him. Could it be more trouble? Is this the end of our escape? She wondered. Fear gripped her as they slowed, gauging whether to move toward the figure or retreat. The night seemed to hold its breath. Jenna squinted against the dim streetlight, trying to make out the figure ahead. The shadows seemed to pulse around him, an unsettling aura hanging in the air. She could feel Mia's grip tighten on her arm, the fear spilling out in whispers. "Should we run?" "Maybe he's here to help," Jenna replied, though her voice lacked conviction. As they approached cautiously, Jenna's heart began to race again, not with the thrill of escape but with a new dread. The figure shifted, revealing more of himself. He was tall, dressed in dark clothing, and his unsettling calmness was like ice on her skin. "Don't be afraid," he said, his voice smooth but chilling. "I've been waiting for you." "What?" Mia whispered, her voice trembling. Jenna felt a surge of protectiveness. "Who are you?" "My name is Lucas," he said, stepping closer. A hint of a smirk played at the corners of his lips. "I know where David is and I know what that man wants. But you need to trust me. Time is not on your side." "Trust you?" Jenna shot back, her pulse pounding louder than the distant sirens. "We don't even know you. Do you want to save him or not?" Lucas's tone shifted, now edged with urgency. "If you stay here, he'll be dead before dawn." The weight of his words hung heavy, suspicion warring with desperation in Jenna's chest. She exchanged another glance with Mia. The fear in her friend's eyes reflected Jenna's own turmoil. "We have to go to the police," Jenna insisted, desperation sharpening her voice. Lucas chuckled. It was the kind of laughter that sent a pulse of ice down her spine. "The police won't get to him in time. They're distracted right now. Your best shot is with me." "Why should we trust you?" Mia asked, her tone steady despite the tremor in her hands. Lucas stepped closer, the shadows carving deep lines on his face. "I'm the only one who can take you to him. He's not just any prey, and you're caught in something way bigger than you realize." Jenna swallowed hard, a lump forming in her throat. The decision weighed heavy. Could they really trust a stranger cloaked in mystery? Instinct screamed at her to run, yet the thought of David in danger held her paralyzed. "What do you know?" she demanded. "I know he is being held in an abandoned factory on the edge of town, and it's where the tall man will be seeking him next. We don't have much time. He'll be there soon. Once he arrives, it'll be over," Lucas urged, eyes narrowing, intensity flaring like a lit fuse. Jenna felt the pull of her impulse, edging dangerously close to the precipice of trust or disaster. "Are you coming with us?" "Of course," Lucas said, the smile returning, though it didn't reach his eyes. "But you have to hurry. Right now, I'm your best chance." An unsettling silence settled around them as Jenna clutched Mia's hand tighter, a mixture of determination and fear electrifying her senses. "Okay," Jenna said finally. "Lead the way." They followed him, the darkness swallowing them once again, each step echoing like a countdown in her mind. The distance to the factory felt infinite, and dread coiled like a serpent in her gut. But as they turned a corner, the slashing sound of footsteps began to follow them. Footfalls that echoed the tall man's pursuit, resonating in the stillness with chilling familiarity. "Run!" Jenna shouted, panic surging anew. They sprinted, yet the figure behind them gained speed, the shadows closing in. They raced onward, edging closer to their destination and to the truth that awaited them. But the specter of what lay behind them taunted their every step, filling the air with an uneasy tension. Would they make it in time? As they rounded the next corner, Jenna caught sight of the factory looming ahead, its windows dark and ominous. "Is this our refuge or our tomb?" she whispered, heart pounding, holding on to the thin thread of hope. The factory loomed as a dark sentinel, its imposing structure whispering secrets of despair. Jenna's heart raced in tandem with her resolve. They had no choice but to confront what lay ahead. As they approached, a flicker of doubt crossed her mind. Had they made the right choice trusting Lucas? The question buzzed in her mind like a swarm of bees, threatening to drown out their next steps. "Stay close," Jenna urged, squeezing Mia's hand tighter. Lucas led the way, his movements confident, almost too confident. The shadow of urgency hung over them like a storm cloud. They pushed through the rusted doors, stepping into what felt like a scene from a nightmare. Darkness whispered from every corner, and the air was thick with the scent of rust and something far less recognizable. "Keep your eyes open," Lucas whispered, scanning the area. "The tall man will be here any second." "Why are we trusting you again?" Mia's voice quivered, betraying her fear. Because time is running out, Lucas shot back, urgency coloring his words. This isn't just a game. They moved deeper into the factory, the sound of crunching debris beneath their feet amplifying the silence around them. Jenna's pulse quickened, and a nauseous knot formed in her stomach. Every fiber of her being wanted to scream, to bolt, but they had to keep pushing forward. Suddenly, muffled voices caught her attention, drawing their focus toward a dimly lit section of the factory. "David!" She gasped, hope igniting in her chest as she recognized his voice. "Jenna! Mia!" His voice was strained, desperate. Her heart ached at the sound, but there was urgency beneath it, tinged with an edge of peril. They rushed toward the voices, weaving through rusted machinery and shadowed corners, adrenaline humming in their veins, then silence. The weight of the moment settled like a heavy blanket, and Jenna felt the pull of fear in her gut. What if they should? Lucas whispered sharply, holding a finger to his lips. They halted, nestled against a wall, anxiously listening. Just ahead, the shadows danced as the tall man's voice echoed through the hall, words laced with menace. "You should have known better, David. It's too late now. Hand over what you owe me, or we'll see just how far I can go to get what I want. Go to hell." David's voice was fierce, though Jenna could hear the threat of panic. Before Jenna could process, she glanced at Lucas. "We need to distract him. We can't let David fight them alone." Lucas nodded, his eyes sharp with determination. "On three, we create as much noise as we can." "Okay," Mia barked, voice trembling. "Let us do it. 1, 2, 3. They burst into action, knocking over an assortment of debris, their uproar shattering the stillness like glass. Distant footsteps pounded in response, the sudden chaos echoing through the corridors of the factory. "Let us go!" Jenna shouted, adrenaline propelling her forward as they charged toward the scene. A wave of adrenaline and fear propelled them like a freight train, but as they rounded the corner, the sight nearly knocked the breath from her lungs. The tall man towered over David, who stood defiant despite the odds stacked against him, bruised but unyielding. "Stop right there!" The tall man barked, turning toward them, eyes widened with fury at their intrusion. "Jenna! Mia! Get out of here!" David yelled, desperation threading through his voice. But it was too late, they were already in it together. "No!" Jenna cried, feeling the wind leave her lungs. "We won't abandon you. Fools!" The tall man laughed darkly, brandishing the device that had terrorized them. "This is your last chance to run. Not while David's in danger." Jenna shouted, stepping forward, her heart pounding like thunder in her ears. The standoff crackled with tension, frozen moments stretching out like an eternity. David's eyes met hers, a flicker of gratitude and fear mingling within. "Get behind me!" David ordered, maneuvering to shield Jenna and Mia from potential danger. The tall man scoffed. "This is laughable. You think you can protect them? It's over." With a sudden flash, he activated the device. The ominous beep echoing like a countdown. "No!" Jenna screamed. She didn't think, she lunged. In an instant, she pounced toward him, a whirlwind of instinct and defiance swirling in her veins. The tall man was surprised, staggering back as she collided with him, causing the device to go flying from his grip. Freedom twisted into chaos as it clanged to the ground, landing precariously. In that split second, something in the air shifted. "Now!" Lucas shouted, grabbing the fallen device, holding it like a weapon. "Run!" David urged the women, his voice laced with urgency, but before they could react, the factory erupted. A blinding light flared from the device. Jenna felt her world spinning out of control, a maelstrom of noise and chaos enveloping her. Shattering glass, screams, and the deep rumble of destruction crashed over them like waves pulling them under. "Stay close!" Mia yelled, pulling Jenna along. Jenna's heart raced as they sprinted blindly through the smoke and debris, her instincts guiding her. Each heartbeat was a fierce reminder of what was at stake. They burst through a side door, plunging into the frigid night air, leaving the chaos behind, but the fight was far from over. They stumbled into the streets, dizzy with the escape, breathless. But as they turned to look back at the factory, a haunting truth settled over them: the tall man had vanished into the shadows, a reminder that danger lurked just out of sight. "Is it over?" Mia gasped between breaths, shaking from the adrenaline. Jenna glanced at David, who was catching his breath, eyes filled with a mixture of relief and dread. "For now," he said slowly. But he'll never stop coming. The weight of uncertainty hung thick in the air, their victory tinged with fear. But one thing was clear: they had faced the darkness together, and whatever lay ahead, they would do it as a team. In the heart of the chaos, they made a vow: they wouldn't just survive, they would find a way to end this nightmare. Together. But first there were questions, revelations waiting to unearth the truth behind everything. The night wasn't just dark, it was full of secrets, and they were determined to uncover them all. "Let us get somewhere safe," Jenna urged, her grip on reality tightening. The battle had just begun. The sirens blared in the distance, echoing a melody of renewed hope. They were alive, together, and that was just the beginning. Now, what would follow would shape the rest of their lives. They had defeated one enemy, but others loomed large on the horizon. Jenna could feel it in her bones: whatever came next would change them forever. The fight was far from over, and as the three of them moved on into the night, one thing remained clear: they would confront whatever waited for them ahead, fiercely united in their quest for the truth. But as they disappeared into the shadows, a figure lingered, watching from afar, the tall man's promise echoing through the air. This was far from the end. Now, it's on you to keep the excitement going. You need to subscribe now so you don't miss the next exclusive chapters of this thrilling saga. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm. Flood the comments section with your theories about what will happen next. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to witness the power of this story. Your support shapes our journey. Let's soar together.